Okay. This is my second time. I had a little bit of, I'm getting older, and as we get older, we sometimes get caught at some words. And I was trying to think of Twin Flames Universe. When I looked at my other video between Scientology and Twin Flames Universe, one thing that Twin Flame Universe talks about is a mirror thing, and well, it got me thinking about, when I talked about loving yourself first, when you love yourself, that way when somebody's attracted to you, you're already attracted to yourself. You found an attraction to yourself so that when somebody loves you, you understand why it seems like a reasonable request. It seems like they're being reasonable with you. So, and again, you find things that you might love about them. And if if both people are both on the same mirror or are mirroring each other, they know that they're they love themselves, and so they know there's these qualities that they have, and they're able to take and give appropriately. So I always say you can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself, because if they love you and you don't love yourself, then there's problems there, obviously. So if you want to be in a relationship, right, and you're like, well, I want to love myself, but nobody likes me, and people don't act like they want to be around me all the time. And you know and this is where I was like, wow, that happens with me a lot. I'm not the most likable person in the world. There are, I'm not going to be Jesus to everybody. That's not what I'm trying to portray anyway. What I'm saying is, I'm not God. I'm not this likable entity that everybody's going to be attracted to me. That's just something that's not going to happen. There was this video that I saw, and this might have inspired all this. I saw a video by Blind Melon that people were, I love the music channels. They do insights, and she was blown away by Blind Melon. And this bumblebee does a tapping. It's called what is that? No Rain. It's a good video if you want to watch it, if you haven't seen that one. Anyway, so Bumblebee does a dance, and she gets mocked by the audience there, and then she looks really sad, and she goes around to different areas that she thinks are going to be good for her. They're the images of, she's dressed in a Bumblebee. You'll see a little bit of yellow on the buildings. Maybe she thought, oh, that's yellow, they might like me, and they're just staring at her like, what are you doing? And she's doing all these dances, and she just can't. She just, she's getting like really bad, like feedback. And so she's about to give up on herself. And then she gets this gate, and she looks at this gate, and her face gets this, she's, oh my God, her doll dresses bumblebees. And she opens the door, and she goes running into then everybody's lifting her up. And what I'm trying to say is, here we have to find our playground. We had to find who we can play with and who we cannot. When we were children, there were the jock people, there were the people that were doing you know, the hop, the hop, jump rope, whatever it is. There was people doing this, and kids were just doing different things, and you could find those, you could find there was kids, who are probably reading at that, reading books, who knows. So finding those people that you're attracted to or that are like you is one thing I would have to say. Is if you feel like you're hanging around people and they don't like you for whatever reason, well, you have to start doing some analysis of, are these the right people? Am I in the right environment? And the environment is huge, because right place, right time, right, are these people vampires? I always say this. There's some people out there that are just trying to hurt others, and you gotta be careful, because you don't want to keep running away. I moved several times to get away from negative people, get away from a negative environment. And some people just can't do that, and they're stuck in this negative environment. And no matter what they do, this is going to impact you. Obviously, if other people aren't loving you or aren't accepting you at all, and treating you miserably, um, then this becomes a negative environment, and the environment can affect the self. I'm a big believer in this. This is a social work, perspective that I love, is the environment and how it impacts people. And it could create, I believe, a bad environment can create bad physical health, bad mental health, bad emotional health, you name it. This is going to create hell for a person. And you really had, so love yourself first is to understand if people don't like you, you need to love yourself enough to be like, not just maybe sticking up for yourself and say, it's an easy thing to say. And then you lose your job, or you, or you might get, you might get a wrong reaction from people that you weren't intending. And so loving yourself enough is to love yourself to be angry with that situation. First off, be angry at the right person. Don't be angry at yourself. Being angry with others that are not treating you well, right? Those people are not right to treat you negatively. But also be angry enough to try to make a change, to try to, okay, I'm going to change my environment. If there's anything I know, I want to be loved. I want to feel in a place that I can grow. And you can't grow in a negative environment. You really can't. You can shrink, but you can't go. Do I want to shrink or do I want to go? So loving yourself is knowing that I want to expand myself, right? I might feel like this. I might, hey, I might not be ready yet to love myself. But I'm thinking about doing it. If you're even thinking about wanting to love yourself, you have to be in an environment that's going to be conducive to that growth, because you're going to expand. And if people want you to shrink, it ain't going to work, right? And loving yourself enough to get angry enough to say, you are impeding my ability to expand my wings and fly, right? I want to fly. I want to be who I am. And I don't want people to cap my wings, and clip them. That's not good, right? So, but there are areas and places, and you have to, if you're going to take this adventure, you got to be willing to pack up and explore and go for it, right? And people think you're nuts. But if you really want to love yourself, you have to be in the environment that is going to provide you that growth, whether it's just getting away from people. I've always said, you have to love yourself before you have relationships with other people, because you have to know what that is. So that's an exploration. So sometimes, just going on a journey, just going out and being somewhere where you can, even at the beach. I'm just saying, you don't have to like go in a group at that point in time. You could just do your meditation, go on a journey, go to the mountains, go somewhere where you feel at peace, right? And then just try to start that growth, and try to allow yourself to just allow yourself to feel that love coming inside of you, and stop hating yourself. Start getting mad that this world doesn't love me and I want to love me. And so you get mad about it, you get angry. That's upsetting you. It's an upset. And when you get these upsets, you have to get to the point where it's not, I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm not going to be wounded. I'm going to sit here. I'm upset. I'm going to make this as motivation for me to really work on who I am, and whether it's changing the things that I'm doing, the things I'm interested in, changing the time of things. Like if I'm investing in, for example, if I really love sports, which I do, I've always loved sports, and I'm investing all my time into sports, in my heart and energy and everything, and the teams, and they're doing miserably, which is not making me feel good, right? And it's really not my calling. It's really not something I go to games and just say the fans could care less about me. And so I think about, like, there might be other things that I like too, like music or whatever it might be. And so I might have to cut some of the time out that I spend loving sports or loving data, or whatever it might be, to spending more time on the piano or more time, hiking or more time going to the beach or whatever it might be. It could be that more time go and play sports, whatever it might be. That I feel like would help to expand this, okay? Because I'm here, so something has to change, right? My environment, of course, and then maybe the things that I'm interested in. Maybe I need to explore some other things, right? What do I have to lose? I want to love myself. And so, you could sit there and write a journal, write about what things interest me the most and what's stopping me but myself most of the time, right? From getting there. It could take an investment, you never know, but you could always ask for help on that. So, part of loving yourself, of course, is showing. I talked about in that video with to Twin Flames Universe. I talked about how that when somebody's looking for you, right? And when you get in a relationship, the first thing they're gonna look at is, are you attractive to them, right? They're looking for certain things, whether it's your eyes, your hair, your butt, your whatever it might be. You never know what you're wearing, and they see that, and that's the first thing people say. And the second thing, of course, is this person I can hang around with, right? Is this someone who carries himself in such a way that is attractive to me? And I didn't talk much about that second thing. I talked about a lot about the first thing, but the second thing is very important. How you carry yourself. If you love yourself, things about your physical and mental shape of yourself will start to change. First off, the one thing that changes the most is that you will want to be healthy. You'll want to show yourself, you'll become healthier. And one thing that I got when I was just recently and years ago, when I didn't love myself, it took me so long to understand this and this connection. I got obese. I got heavy. I was eating for just to keep myself happy. And food, let me tell you something. Food can be toxic relationship. Food doesn't tell us anything like, you know, it feels good. And it for our brain, it's like dopamine. You eat that and it feels good. You drink it, it feels good. And you're just going on feelings and things. But that's just your feelings. That's not working on you loving yourself. And and what we tend to think in society in the way we live is that I feel, therefore I am, right? This is a false distortion, a cognitive distortion to have. I feel, therefore I am. So if I feel hungry, that means I am hungry. If I feel, desire, that means I am desirable. That's not true. Feelings can be very tricky. And that relationship with food, toxic stuff like drugs, cigarettes, whatever it might be, it's going to not be the right dopamine. I always say it's not going to be the right feeling. When you love yourself and you do something for yourself and you're working on something towards a goal that you love doing or that you like doing or that you admire doing, you will feel that same reward as if you ate a big thing of steak and potatoes, right? Because you're getting your steak and potatoes in life. So you're not hungry for the steak potatoes presented in front of you. Of course, it looks good, but you don't need to eat so much of it. And I get to the point where I got to the point lately, I don't even know I'm hungry because I'm looking spiritual. And this is funny because I just it occurred to me that even in John, and I'm a Christian too, so I'll be right up with that. But even in John, the book of John, it talks about not wanting the food of this world, but the food of higher, It's a spiritual food. And so the bread representing spiritual food. And so there's a thing there that kind of alarm bell goes off right there. And that's a spiritual food or a manifested food that will help you feel good about yourself and reflect feeling good. Could just be I'm in an environment, I'm doing something that makes me happy, that makes others happy. Others love me for it. Other people are appreciating, or at least I'm seeing some changes in other people, or I'm reflecting something positive back. And that's just a great vibe. It's the same vibe as eating a steak, right? I ate a steak without having to eat a steak, but I get hungry. And so the hunger does come because we need food to survive. So what we start doing is instead of eating to feel good, we eat to live, to keep doing what we need to do. And we only eat what we or drink or eat what is necessary for us to continue that. Because our goal is not so much to feel good by eating. Our goal is so that we can sustain our energy and during that time where we having to give. And if we do that, we can start losing weight. I've lost almost 40 something pounds of weight already in just 6 months, 7 months. And I've done nothing but just stop looking at food to make me feel good. And so, but there's another parallel to that, because that's it. Everybody says, well, you don't eat to feel good. You don't drink to feel good. You don't want to do, there has to be another, you want to feel good doing something else. You want to feel good and feel inspired by something else. Let something else reward you. You eat to get to that point. So you don't need, you look at your plate and you're like, I don't need but 3 bites of this. I don't need a lot of energy here. I'm not, you have to look at that. And I don't do any calorie counting, any carb counting. It's like, to me, it's just looking and being reasonable, being rational. Now, I'm not a dietitian. Again, if you're going to do this with some blood work, and understand what you need as fuel. As we might need foods that are high in something or low in something. We don't know what our blood is. So it's very important that when we're choosing this way, when we're choosing to eat just to sustain what we're doing, that we're eating the right things. And I'm not a diet. I'm not going to tell you what you should eat, but you should see a dietitian, get your blood work done, maybe see an endocrinologist, all these things, because you never know. For example, I have a problem because I don't eat steak anymore. I don't eat pork anymore. There's a lot of things I don't eat. So I have a problem with, what is it called? I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's not potassium. What is that? What is that? I always think of body lifting when I think of this. It has to do with red blood cells. Iron. I don't have a lot of iron in my blood, so I become very anemic if I continue without doing anything. So what I eat is 85% dark chocolate. 85% dark chocolate gives me about 30% of my dietary iron that I need per day, which with everything else, I should be okay. My iron levels are still going to be low, but they're not going to be to the point where it's going to be detriment to my health. So for me, I looked at some of these blood work that I got back. I said, wow, I'm anemic a little bit here. And so anemia is not good because that creates, makes you feel lethargic, low energy kind of stuff. So yeah, I get my dark chocolate. It also helps with blood flow. It helps me to not get, anyway. So, knowing your blood, knowing yourself is part of loving who you are, right? To love yourself is to get blood work, to know what's going on in your body, what's going on in my body. So love taking care of those things. Again, I'm not perfect. There's some things I just can't afford to do. I don't have time to do. I haven't invested that time yet. And some of that is selfish because if I do find this self-love, which I've been exploring for the last 5-10 years, and I go down and I'm helping other people, and then I die of a heart attack because I'm neglecting something, because I don't have the time for it. I mean, that's not really practicing self-love too much. It's kind of selfless love, which, can lead to hurting other people because those people rely on you and then you're gone. So, beware of, your limited time on this earth, and that things happen. We get sick, and our bodies might start shutting down and not working properly, or there might be something, that's causing us pain, and we need to be looking at that. So I really think that people should get blood work done, and should see a physician, do all these things, regardless, and stay on top of your health. I mean, I think health is very important. Physical health. You can't feel a lot of love if you're in pain. If your body is in pain, or if you're not producing enough things for your body to be healthy, it's really hard. It'll make it really hard to love yourself, to love life, to be able to do this. To be able to expand, you have to find some balance of physical health. Now, for those people, you ask the next question, well, what if you just don't have physical health? Can you still expand? Of course you can. To your own perception, of course. And maybe expanding this will help your physical and manifestations. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you that will happen, but it could. I mean, think about if you're feeling your mental and your emotional can start influencing your physical. But of course, having help from other professionals would help too. I'm not going to get into all that too much, but I'm just saying, how do you love change your environment, changing perception, and doing so, getting kind of angry about it, anger that you're not in a situation where you can expand, and doing something about it. And I think that we can't allow other people to we only got a certain amount of time here. We don't know from day to day. I could be gone next week. We don't know how long we have here. I can't let other people, I can't let other people impact this time that I have, and then curse them when my time is gone, that I wasn't able to do it because this, and this. Because it's to point towards me and say, I made the excuse not to do it because them. You know what I'm saying? So instead, I say, well, with the time I have left, I'm done with you all. Y'all can go to hell, I'm going the other way. I'm walking out the door. I'm never coming back. Goodbye. Because I don't need that negative environment. And whatever happens to me in the next 10 years, I will go through some, it might not all be good. And there might be years and years and years where I'm like, why did I leave? But I know why I left. I left because I want to expand. That's my goal. I want to expand. It's funny, camera. And I can't expand in the environment I'm in. So I get mad enough. I say, enough. I'm not willing to do this. I'm not willing to shrink. That's not loving myself. I can't love myself in that situation. And I'm not, this video is not about, thinking any differently of other people, because other people are going to do what they're going to do. And they may do it in your new location. You might have several moves to make. But either way, when you find a place that's safe to grow, then you grow, and you just have to find that. You may never have that. I may never even have that. Like, I may never find a place where I'm able to grow, but at least I tried, at least I loved myself enough to give it a try, to put myself out there. I would rather myself fall short trying to love myself rather than accepting hate, accepting negative vibes, accepting a negative environment just because it's easier to do so. And I said this in my environment. I said this in my other video, sorry. It's easier to hate yourself than to love yourself, because loving yourself takes action. It takes a mindset. It takes some heartache. It takes some real work. Loving yourself is not easy. It can be scary. It can be really eye awakening. It's not going to happen overnight. But as I said, just be a seed, germinate, be in the ground, be receptive. And again, I'm going to talk about this environment thing because this is huge. You can't throw a seed in concrete and expect it to grow and grow into a giant tree. Of course, it can happen. I've seen little things come out of concrete, so I've just thought about that. But I think what I'm trying to say is that is not, if it's in a healthy thing of concrete, right? And that seed is in the concrete and it's not getting water, there's no cracks in it, then it's not going to grow. It's going to be in an environment that thing is just going to be, it's going to be hard, all right, to do anything. You want to be in an environment where the ground is fertile, where there's plenty of nutrients coming in, where you can grow and spread out and become what you're meant to be. And I believe this. Every child, every baby, every child out there is meant to grow, meant to become this producing thing. That we're all worthy. We're all beautiful in ourselves, that we can give something to the world, and we all should give something to the world. And I say that's something positive. Too many people, there are people that get sidetracked and they use their talents and gifts to hurt others, and they use their talents and gifts to deceive others and all that stuff, and it just makes this journey. Well, again, if you go on a journey, there's going to be cliffs. You got to expect that. You got to be ready to face battles along the way. But this is a journey that when you're looking at loving yourself, when you're looking at finding what's right with you, what's good with you, the when you find things, the discoveries are going to be unreal. They're going to be great. You're going to discover some fascinating people, some fascinating lands, some fascinating places. And it may not be the end, but it's, the end that you're looking for, but you're on the way. I'm on my way, and I'm just here for a little while, and there might be some people that remind you of the past, but how with them. Anyway, so again, I'm going on the environment. I'm going on looking at the laws that allow you to grow, the policies that allow you to grow, the people, the your friends, families that are around you. Is this environment safe? There's a lot of things to look at here. And I think that when you are in the right environment, relationships happen because people are attracted to you. They're attracted because they see you're in a state of discovering your self-love, discovering your talents, discovering your gifts, discovering why you were born in this world, what is my purpose, right? What are things that excite me? And when you're in that right environment and people see that, it's almost like I think of the bumblebee girl. The little girl finds it anyway, the gates, and she goes in there, and she's beloved amongst the other bumblebee people that have come there. And it's just a wonderful video, and they love them. It's when you find your people, when you find your community, when you find your group that'll love you just for who you are, love you for what you have to give, and yeah, those things start to blossom. You start to expand. You start to fly. What a bumblebee thing, fly. Bumblebees are meant to fly. They're meant to be different instead of shrinking. And that's it. It's just a decision. Do I want to shrink in life, or do I want to expand in life? What kind of relationships do I have? Do I want to have toxic relationships that make me shrink, make me feel less? Or do I want to be in relationships that make me expand, that make me love more, be able to do more? And I think anybody who is, who is reasonable would say, okay, yeah, I'd love to be in those kind of relationships that are going to help me with that. And that, again, just what I've been saying. So until I have the new ideas, I'm going to keep spinning this out. The purpose of these videos is I've had some health problems, and I'm, like I said, I hated myself for so long. I did some things to my body, to things in my head that probably shortened my life a little bit. I just wanted to while I'm here, to just put out some of my what I've discovered, and hopefully my discoveries and my explorations, that it helps some other people who watch these videos and maybe find something. Who knows?